Flaky though coming out of the final corner, getting ready to go here. Has he gone yet? I think he might have done it. Yep, we are racing. Flat to the boards, over the line we come. So Flaky leads ahead of Mike Gaming as we've already got a move being shaped up here. Jay is looking to... In fact, he's trying to defend actually to the inside of Thomas. Thomas is looking around the outside of Jay into turn one. Jay goes a little bit later on the brakes and holds on to that one. Bit of a slide from both of them there, but Jay's got that one covered. As we look further down the order, looks like we're all as we were in terms of the starting positions. All part of a big sideways moment there coming through turn one. Flaky leads ahead of Mike Gaming, followed by Beam Basher. You've got Diabetic Lamb in the background there as we've got Thomas looking to the outside here on Jay coming into turn three, but he's too far back just at the moment then, and it's still as you were between those two. Big Blue trying to defend from Park Pooper for 14 and 15 places. Mike Gaming is attacking on the back of Flaky here as they're now coming down towards turn 5. Mike Gaming really close. The two BMWs dicing it out a little bit too far back coming through into the corner. Beam Basher and Diabetic Lamb still in hot pursuit at the moment behind these guys. And everybody else seems to be pretty much as they were then, as Part Pooper Rex is trying to defend here from Connor, but he's got ahead of Connor as Part Pooper, so he must have made that move coming through the first sector there. But Flaky still leading ahead of Mike Gaming. Bit of a twitch there from Beam Basher as he's got Diabetic Lamb right behind him at the moment. Double checking to make sure my audio is all good. From Beam Basher as he's got... Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, this is exciting first up at the moment. Beam Basher's really closed up onto the back of Mike Gaming. Mike Gaming's just dropped off of Flaky a bit as they're coming through that little hairpin section. Beam Basher just coming down to the bottom of the circuit, just a little bit too far away at the moment. Chris Bissett, welcome to you, mate. It's been a long time since we've seen you in this in the Motive Racing stream chat. Chris used to race with us back on Project Cars 2 back in the day, also ACC as well. I believe he's on PC nowadays as well. Yeah, good to see you, mate. Welcome back to the channel again. Flaky out the front, 6/10 is the gap over Mike Gaming. Beam Basher and Diabetic Lamb still pretty close. Cobb there sticking to the back of them, and Jay's actually managed to keep pretty much within the vicinity of the leaders as well. So obviously not the qualifying you'd have wanted, but it's not been a bad start to the race for him in any way, shape or form. Yeah, it's currently 12 seconds separating all the 15 drivers here out on track at the moment, and there's battles, there's action wherever you look right now. John Boy really close here on the back of Thomas as they're coming down the start-finish straight. He's going to look to send one into turn one. No, he's a little bit too far back just at the moment then. As in the background we've got Revolt Detailer looking to the inside here. On Connor, can he complete this move? Leo's going to look to try and make it happen. Connor leaving the space on the inside. Where is Leo? He's made the move. Yes, he has. So that is Leo up into P13. Nice move there, and good stuff there from our sponsor for this touring car championship. But Flaky at the moment still leads ahead of Mike. You've got Beam Basher there ahead of Diabetic, Cobb, Jay, Thomas, John Boy the top 8, followed by the Mutts Nuts, who's still keeping tabs of them at the moment. Charlie Goff and Alfred having a little battle here for P10 and 11. Bart Pooper running by himself in P12 as Revolt Detailer still having to defend here from Connor as these two batted out of a P13. Big Blue's dropped off for these guys a little bit. Said he was struggling with the McGann. Has gone back to his customary Beamer for this one. As we can see the four leaders just stretching out the gap a little bit now over Cobb and Jay. The two Astras running in 5th and 6th. John Boy still on the back of Thomas. All a bit of a slide there from Thomas as they came through the first of the hairpins. But as we can see, John Boy having a little look. Thomas though holding his ground for the time being, not being forced into an error in any way, shape or form. Flaky leads by 7/10. He's managed to put out a little bit of a cushion here over Mike. Not massive, as we say, only still under a second, but he's just got a little bit over him at the moment, a little bit of a wriggle room. Diabetic Lamb is really throwing the kitchen sink at Mike Gaming at the moment as they've just edged a little bit ahead of Beam Basher running in 4th place. But lap 3 of 10 here for the sprint race here tonight, here for the Touring Car Championship at Motive Racing. Round 1 here for season 11. As we're looking in the background, somebody's kicked the tyres up there. I'm not sure who it was, but the tyres have gone flying in the background there. Jay still all over the back of Cobb. We've got Thomas and John Boy still with them, but John Boy's dropped off at these guys a little bit over the course of this lap and potentially falling back into the clutches of the Mutts Nuts. Afford running just ahead of Charlie Goff. Charlie's still unable to make anything happen just on him at the moment. Part Pooper running in P12 now ahead of Revolt Detailer and Connor, and Revolt Detailer's just gapped Connor a little bit by about a second on this lap so far. Big Blue a couple of seconds behind them in P15. Flaky ahead of Mike Gaming still. Diabetic Lamb is really starting to pile the pressure cooker on Mike Gaming though. How much longer is Mike Gaming going to be able to withstand this pressure? Diabetic Lamb's got the run here as they come up towards turn 3. Is he going to look to send it? No, he hasn't got the straight line speed. Mike Gaming with the far superior straight line speed in the BMW has got the measure of him for the time being. It's in the background. Jay looking to the inside here on Cobb. Cobb closes the door. sure, but he might find himself vulnerable, Jay, to Thomas, because Thomas is waiting in the wings, hoping to pounce if these two come together. Cobb, for the time being, holding on for P5. Jay might be able to get the exit here. He's going to look to the outside. Cobb is going to send him all the way around the long way here. As in the background, the Mutts Nuts was getting a little bit wide onto the curb. Oh, Jay going for a really late lunge. Oh no, he's misjudged it and he tags him around, and Cobb is onto the gravel there. And Jay, a misjudgment there. He went for the feint and then went to swerve to the inside to try and put Cobb off. And unfortunately, he's just gone straight into him. And I've got to say, if Cobb puts in an inquiry, I reckon that might end quite badly for Jay. That was just a small misjudgment, I think, as he was on the brakes. He thought he could maybe feint to the inside and put Cobb off, but it's gone wrong there for Jay. And is he going to wait for Cobb, or is he just going to take the penalty? Sometimes it's you've got to just weigh up what your best options are in this situation. Jay, I think, is opting to let him back through, so obviously we'll get a lesser penalty, potentially not even any penalty at all, for letting him back through. But yeah, unfortunate for those guys, down to 8th and 9th places respectively. Flaky's opened up a bit of a gap here over Mike. He's got over a second now as Diabetic Lamb has got the run here on Mike Gaming. But Mike, I think, has just about got it covered coming into the penultimate corner. The BMW has got the better straight line speed. Even the momentum that Diabetic Lamb had over Mike coming out of the corner still wasn't enough to get ahead of him, as they're now coming through the final corner. And now Diabetic Lamb will once again look to try and get the to try and get the slipstream here coming down the start-finish straight. But Flaky's now stretched out his gap to 1.2 seconds. Mike Gaming still coming under increasing pressure from Diabetic Lamb at the moment. You've got Beam Basher there running in 4th place, has dropped off of the leaders a little bit over the course of that lap. Thomas there in a 2:09 dead. You've got John Boy, who's just dropped off of Thomas a little bit. He's got the Mutts Nuts for company. Cobb there running in 8th ahead of Jay, so these two now well down in the mid-pack. You've got Emafford there just ahead of Charlie, so Emafford's gapped Charlie a little bit. Part Pooper still going in P12. Revolt Dita and Connor have been battling since the start of this race, and they're still going in 13th and 14th. Big Blue rounding out the pack at the moment, but Flaky leading on lap 5 of 10. But Mike Gaming and Diabetic Lamb not too far away, and Mike Gaming's made a bit of a mistake there onto the curb. That will allow Diabetic Lamb to sense an opportunity. Is he going to keep himself there on the inside? Is he going to go late on the brakes and hold this move? I think he is. Diabetic Lamb just squeezing through. Mike gave him the space there. Diabetic Lamb, job done up into P2. They're now a couple of seconds behind Flaky whilst they're battling. Oh, massive slide there from Mike. I tell you what, he's living dangerously there, driving that like that. But Diabetic Lamb is now up into 2nd place. Has he got the pace to chase after the race leader Flaky, who is currently skating away at the moment? And I said all last season that Flaky could be a big contender in the BMW with the ballast for the McGanns, and right now it's proving to be very much so. With Diabetic Lamb in 2nd place, now he's starting to try and chase him down. He's already brought the gap down by a couple of tenths since getting ahead of Mike Gaming. Mike's still running in the final podium spot. Beam Basher only about 5 seconds off the lead, not too far away. Thomas, though, has really been reeling in Beam Basher the last couple of laps. I'll tell you what, this could be an interesting battle for 4th place. Only a couple of seconds back to John Boy, who is matching these two, I think, on this lap so far. Last lap he was a bit slower, but he seems to be keeping the gap at around just under 2 seconds to Thomas. The Mutts Nuts is dropping off at the back of John Boy at this point. You've got Cobb and Jay still going at it. The two Astras there in 8th and 9th places. Emafford there running ahead of Charlie. And what has happened here to Connor's dropped down the order a bit. So Connor was in the battle with Revolt Detailer, but he's now behind Big Blue. So Connor down to P14 here in this race. Part Pooper has also dropped behind Emafford and Charlie. So I don't know if that was already the case. I don't think so. I thought maybe it was. Maybe that's me suffering from all kinds of delusions. But nonetheless, Flaky and Diabetic Lamb now separated by under a second. Diabetic Lamb was 3 tenths quicker than Flaky on the last lap. And also you've got to factor in, you've got to remember that Diabetic Lamb had to make the move on Mike as well on that last lap. Now he would have benefited from a bit of slipstream, but he also was a bit held up and probably couldn't maximise his pace. So when you consider that, Diabetic Lamb flying on that last lap, and it's not really much at all now separating these two. Oh, massive wiggle there from Mike. Gets it together though. That was close. Living dangerously there, Mike Gaming. Thomas is now really close on the back of Beam Basher. Only about half a second between those two. As John Boy was almost matching Thomas on the last lap. Only 2 tenths slower, but he is a lot quicker than Beam Basher at this point. So John Boy could be in the hunt for a top 5. Cobb and Jay side by side as Jay's holding it on the inside. Does he go deep? No, he gets it stopped. These two having a good battle. Obviously they came together earlier earlier on. Tensions pulled over a little bit between them, but they seem to be keeping it very clean at the moment. Grandad Steve in the comments saying, come on Diabetic Lamb, these two obviously good mates, they do play other games together. I know that Diabetic Lamb and Grandad Steve good mates aside from actual sim racing. I know they tend to, they're in the same sort of like party chat group. I know that they chat a lot outside of actual off the racetrack as well as on it, but yeah, Diabetic Lamb at the moment in P2, he's really close on the back of Flaky right now. Goes a bit deep coming into the third to last corner, but Diabetic Lamb has had the pace over the last few laps. He's definitely got the momentum. Flaky's led this race since the start, but Diabetic Lamb just having a little look, trying to feint to the inside, put Flaky under a little bit of pressure. Don't think Flaky's going to bow down to that. He seems to be holding it together quite nicely, and obviously the BMW with the straight line speed over the McGann, so that could definitely pay dividends. I know it's not a massive straight line speed track here at Brno, but it's about finding the right place to pass. Diabetic Lamb, if he wants to get ahead of Flaky, is going to have to go late on the brakes. He's going to have to be brave and really send it, whereas Flaky just has to make sure that he's ahead coming out of the corners, and he will generally be able to defend down the straights down to his straight line speed. So at the moment Flaky just needs to park his car in the right places. Diabetic Lamb's got to take this fight to him. He can be quicker, but it's about where can he make the move. That's the big question for Diabetic Lamb. These guys have gapped Mike Gaming by 3.5 seconds. Beam Basher is still just ahead of Thomas, but Thomas is looking all over him coming into turn 3. Oh, Beam Basher just closes the door there. Thomas trying to go around the outside. Has he got the move done? I'm not sure. Beam Basher there holding it around the outside there for turn 4 and keeps onto P4 just about, but that is some very, very argy-bargy moment there for those two. Thomas now looking to the inside. Beam Basher managed to get a decent enough exit, and it's going to hold on there for P4 coming into turn 5, but these two really having a good scrap right now. Beam Basher a little bit deep, but Thomas has a massive slide. Oh, Beam Basher there keeping it together. Thomas had a slide. If it wasn't for the fact that Thomas had a slide, I think he would have had the move done, because Beam Basher was really wide and very compromised. But luckily for Beam Basher, Thomas made a mistake as well. Thomas, where has he gone there? He's back on the track. He just had a little bit of an excursion there onto the grass. That will maybe allow John Boy into this battle. John Boy only about a second and a half off of P4 here in this race. So, you know, it's not been the opening round to the season that he would have wanted, but nonetheless he's now bringing himself into this fight for 4th place. Beam Basher, Thomas and John Boy will keep an eye on this one. Jay and Cobb still battling over 8th and 9th places. You've got M. Afford and Charlie still going at it over 10th and 11th. Flaky and Diabetic Lamb though very close. Oh, Flaky, massive slide onto the curb. Diabetic Lamb in the slipstream. Can he make the move? He's going to look to the inside. Bit of a flash of the lights there from Diabetic Lamb, trying to get into the head of Flaky if he can. Flaky's got it together coming into the penultimate corner and gets it stopped there, but Diabetic Lamb is absolutely flying at this point. He seems to definitely have a bit more confidence than Flaky at this stage. You'd have thought with the McGann being quite hard on its tyres that the BMW would be sort of holding on to it a bit better, but at the moment Diabetic Lamb seems to have plenty of tread and plenty left in the tank. Obviously he's got more than enough in the tank because all the McGanns have to carry 100 litres, you know, but currently, Flaky doing a really great job here of holding on to this lead as these guys are continuing to gap Mike Gaming. He's 4 seconds now behind these guys. Beam Basher's still holding on ahead of Thomas as Flaky's keeping on to the lead coming into turn 3. Beam Basher's actually gapped Thomas a little bit over the last lap. That seems to be a bit more of a cushion than what it was before. John Boy there running in P6, still stalking the back of these guys. The Mutts Nuts has got Jay looking to his inside. Jay and Cobb have really closed on the Mutts Nuts. The Mutts Nuts has got damage on the front of the car as well. The front bumper just hanging off a little bit as we see the cones flying around there. Jay's still keeping ahead of Cobb, but these two will be looking to try and get ahead of the Mutts Nuts with the Mutts Nuts damage. Oh, he's wide onto the curb. Now Jay is going to look to the inside, coming into the first right-hander, and that's going to be job done there for Jay, I'm sure of it. Cobb is also looking to the inside. The Mutts Nuts tries to turn in. Oh, and Cobb there spins out. He just looked like the Mutts Nuts just kind of limited the space that he had to work with, and Cobb's rear end just stepped inside, and unfortunately Cobb is down to 11th place, so he's lost out a few places there. Mutts Nuts looked like he was just a bit bit aggressive turning in there, I've got to say, but we'll see what the stewards make of that. If Cobb decides to put an inquiry, Cobb has been the unfortunate victim of a few circumstances here in this race with Jay and now the Mart's Nuts. So yeah, it's been not the race at all that Cobb would have wanted to start off his season, but he's also racing with an injury as well at the moment, so you know, fair play to him for his dedication to the cause here at Motive for this Project Cars 2 season. Nonetheless, we go back to the battle for the lead because Flaky and Diabetic Lamb are still very close, only half a second separating these two as they're coming into the penultimate corner on lap 8. We have got just over 2 laps left to go, and at the moment Flaky's doing what he has to do. Diabetic Lamb is trying everything he's got, and he gets a good exit coming out of the last corner, but Flaky's straight line speed should be able to keep him in good stead coming up towards turn 1. He's pulling away despite Diabetic Lamb being in the slipstream. That's how quick the BMW is in a straight line compared to the Megane. He's pulling away even with Diabetic Lamb being in the slipstream. Diabetic Lamb's chance to make the move here is going to have to be forcing Flaky into a mistake or going for a lunge up the inside. If he can keep himself in the slipstream, he might be close enough to make a lunge into turn 3. Flaky weaving around a bit of a cheap tactic. I'm not a fan of the weaving. I've got to say, it's something that's been used a lot against me when I'm behind people, and it's yeah, I've got a bit of a scarring when it comes to people weaving in front of me, especially in the wet. But right now, Flaky and Diabetic Lamb still 2 tenths between these two, ever so close, nothing separating them at this point. Diabetic Lamb still can't find a way through. He's been quicker than Flaky over the last few laps, but just can't seem to find a gap. And it's nip and tuck here between these guys, but nothing doing as Flaky just defending the inside a little bit. Diabetic Lamb trying to exploit a gap, trying to force him into a mistake, looking to the inside once again into the left-hander, but Flaky is just alert and alive to every little thing that Diabetic Lamb is trying to throw at him here. Mike Gaming still running in P3 to Beam Basher there. P4 has got just under 2 seconds to John Boy. Thomas must have made another mistake because he's now behind John Boy, so John Boy up to P5. John Boy is matching Beam Basher, so unless Beam Basher makes a mistake, I think that John Boy's going to have to settle for P5 here. But nonetheless, he's still in striking distance of Beam Basher at this point. Beam Basher's driven a good solid race, consistent in this first sprint race. He was with the leaders in the early stages, but couldn't maintain that level of consistency, and nonetheless Flaky and Diabetic Lamb 2 tenths between these two coming through the final few corners here on the penultimate lap. So we are about to start the final lap here of the sprint race, and these two have put on a fantastic show for the last few laps. Diabetic Lamb got ahead of Mike. He was a couple of seconds behind Flaky. He then reeled that gap down and got right onto him, but since then hasn't been able to make a move. Oh, huge moment there for Diabetic Lamb. Really close to losing the car. He did so well to hold on to that. On the final lap of the race now, Flaky is a little bit off of his personal best there, 209.2, so the BMW looks like it's cooked its tyres a little bit. Diabetic Lamb, I think, also quite a way off his personal best, so definitely tyre wear starting to play a factor here. But these two obviously head and shoulders above everybody else here in this race. Mike Gaming's been able to keep them sort of on the same page in that final podium spot. Beam Basher there running in 4th place. John Boy within 10 seconds of the lead. He's currently about 1.5 seconds behind Beam Basher, but Beam Basher was 3 tenths quicker than John Boy and just extended that gap a little bit on that last lap. Thomas there running in P6 has got Jay reeling him in, but I think Jay might be a little bit late to that party, but P7 nonetheless after a very, very difficult race for him will be, I'm sure he'll take that. Mafford there running in 9th place with some damage. He's got a front bumper hanging off there. Charlie's all over him as they come into turn 3. As he got sorry, the Mutt's Nuts, with the damage, sorry. Mafford right on the back of him and Charlie there. Diabetic Lamb's leading the race. What has happened here? Flaky has made a mistake. Flaky must have gone wide or something coming through the middle part of the lap. He's cutting the inside grass there. Has he got damage on the car? Flaky really struggling. He needs to get this together. He's really dropping back. He's losing a lot of time here. As here comes Mike Gaming. Mike Gaming might be able to pick up a P2 here. Flaky trying to defend. Mike has to switch back to the outside. Flaky weaving all over the place, trying to sort of intimidate Mike Gaming into not making the move. Does Mike go deep? Flaky's there on the inside and looking to try and take P2 straight back off of him here. Bit of a doorbell between the two doing? Oh my god! Rubbing's racing, I suppose. Flaky trying to keep it around the outside. Mike completes the move up into second place. Flaky having a nightmare of a final lap. Was leading the race until half a lap left to go. Diabetic Lamb has snatched it from his grasp. Flaky looks like he's lost out on second place as well, but Diabetic Lamb coming through the last couple of corners here at Brno for the sprint race here tonight. The first race of the season for the touring cars. It's going to be first blood to Diabetic Lamb as they flash the lights there. What a drive. Great stuff there from him. Mike Gaming is going to come over to take second place here in the BMW. Flaky loses 2 places on the last lap. The win was pretty much within his grasp. He led the entire race up until the last lap, but nonetheless a P3. John Boy takes 4th place, last season's runner-up in the championship. Bean Basher comes over to take P5. As over the line he comes. Jay finishes the race in P6. Charlie Goff is going to finish in 7th place, but Jay will be a bit disappointed with that one because last season's champion not getting off on the right foot here for this race. We got the Mutts Nuts over in P8 ahead of Cobb, who finishes the race in 9th place. Emmaford coming over in P10 ahead of Thomas in 11th place. Connor is going to finish the race in P12 ahead of Revolt Detailer, who comes over in 13th place. Part Pooper Rex is coming to the final couple of corners, missing his entire front bumper, so that would have been costing him quite a bit of time in the race. Big Blue, by the looks of it, is retired, so I don't know what's going on there, but Big Blue's retired with a couple of corners left in the race, so I don't know. But Part Pooper over the right line nonetheless, and that is that then for the sprint race. What a race! What a night! So far, we've got a feature race coming up after this with a reverse grid based on the results from the sprint race, but it is Diabetic Lamb taking the first win of the season, and I believe the fastest lap as well. Mr. Fastest Lap himself taking the fastest lap to boot, and Mike Gaming in 2nd, Flaky completing the podium, John Boy 4th ahead of B Masher 5th, followed by Jay in 6th, Charlie Goff 7th, the Mutts Nuts in 8th, Cobb finishes in 9th place with Emma for completing the top 10, Thomas in 11th place, Connor 12th, Revolt Detailer P13, Part Hoover Rex P14, Big Blue rounding out P15. Raki will be live for the feature race in a second, mate, if you want to stick around. You don't have to, but yeah, we'll be back shortly, guys. We're going to stay on this stream. We're not going to start a new one. No need. So we'll be back literally in about 5 minutes time for that one. Grab yourself a drink, grab yourself a smoke, go to the toilet, do what you got to do, and we'll be back in a moment. Guys, well, I know he's good friends with him. Nonetheless, we're really slowing up quite a bit here coming out of the last corner. That might have been why there was a little bit of contact and argy-bargy. I think we're now getting underway. Yes, we are. So it's now foot flat to the boards here as Big Blue's leading us up towards turn 1. Part Hoover there just behind Revolt Detailers looking to the inside into turn 1, and he goes for the move there, does Revolt Detailer, as Thomas is now trying to squeeze through as well. Part Hooper's in a bit of a mess here as he's now got he's got Thomas really trying to squeeze him out there. You've got Emmaford and Connor right behind them, as with the Mutts Nuts there in P7 ahead of Cobb, followed by Charlie Goff, Jay there in P10 ahead of B-Masher, John Boy, Flaky, Mike Gaming, Diabetic Lamb and Aussie at the back of the grid at the moment, as we've got somebody really weaving around there. B-Masher just tags the side of John Boy. What was going on there? John Boy is off onto the grass. B-Masher looked like he moved across on him. I don't know if he didn't see him until the last minute, but John Boy down to the back of the pack. He's not going to be happy with that, I'm sure. Big Blue leads coming in towards turn 5. Revolt Detailer has got ahead of Pop Rex up into 2nd place. Nicely done there from Leo. We've got Thomas there ahead of Connor, followed by Emmaford. Cobb, the Mutts Nuts, there's Charlie ahead of Jay, followed by B-Masher. As we can see Flaky trying to squeeze through here ahead of Mike Gaming squeezing ahead of Flaky there. So Mike Gaming up into P11, and those two who were up the front in the first race having a battle already in the towards the back of the pack. As Revolt Detailer is in the lead, and Big Blue's had a moment. Big Blue's dropped it and he's down to the back, and Revolt Detailer leads the early stages of the feature race. What a start to the race for him in the Monster Energy livery. Papa Rex all over the back of him right now. Thomas there into 3rd place. We said we need to watch him in this race because he was in a good position in the sprint race, and obviously in a high grid position for the start of this feature race. Emmaford in 4th ahead of Cobb. Connor Boylan sticking to the inside of Cobb. So can he try and make this move happen as he's looking to be side by side with him, as Cobb's leaving him as space on the inside. Can Cobb hold on for the third to last corner, the chicane bit? I think he is. Cobb there keeping on to P5 as Connor was looking around him there. Cobb trying to put the pressure on M. Afford for 4th place. Revolt Detailer leading ahead of Park Whipper. Park Whipper looking to the outside, coming up towards the penultimate corner. He's going to look to try and go around the outside as Park Whipper Rex. As Thomas is looking to the inside as well. Is it going to be 3 wide coming into the penultimate corner? As just Revolt Detailer just covers Thomas off. Thomas a bit of a slide there. Park Whipper can't make the move, can't find a gap there. Revolt Detailer keeping on to the lead for the time being as we're coming out of the last corner, and it's currently still the same as it was, as we can see that the couple of drivers coming into the pits here at the end of the first lap. My TV's threatening to turn off if I don't press a button, so I'm stressing out right now because I have no idea where the controller is. But nonetheless, we can see 5 drivers coming into the pits. Cobb, in fact more than 5, there's 7 drivers coming into the pits at the end of lap 1. Cobb, Diabetic Lamb, the Mutts Nuts, Aussie, Flaky, John Boy, Charlie and Jay. So yeah, blimey, lots of drivers coming in at the start. So the top 8 haven't been in, but the bottom 8 have. So Diabetic Lamb, the leader of the drivers who have been in. Flaky coming out in second of the pit stop drivers. There's Cobb, John Boy coming out there just behind them. You got Aussie Albie just coming out of his pit box now. He's off and going again. Charlie Goff jumping the Mutts Nuts there in the pits, and Jay running in P16. It's been a nightmare of a start to for Jay for his season in general in the Clio Cup on Monday and the touring cars tonight. It's not gone to plan, but still a long way to go in this race. Still 10 laps to go here for this feature race, and anything can happen. But it's Revolt Detailer trying to open up a bit of a gap here. He's got nearly a second to Park Hooper. There's Am Afford, followed by Beam Basher, Mike Gaming there in P5 ahead of Connor. You got Thomas there running in 7th place, a little way off of the leaders at this point. Big Blue, the last runner of the drivers who are still yet to pit in this race. Now I think is a good time to try and hunt down this TV remote, which has just disappeared, and it's not in the hand, and I can't see it anywhere. For goodness sake, where's it gone? Why? Why does this happen? There it is. What an inconvenience. Sorry about that. Right, we're back on. So currently Revolt Detail has opened up a second and a half of a gap here right now over M. Afford. Beam Basher there is trying to get ahead of M. Afford if he can. You've got Mike Gaming there up into 4th place in this race, so he's really made some good progress. Only 2 seconds off of the lead, starting from near enough the back of the pack. Park Whipper Rex still keeping on them, but Park Whipper's lost out to these 3, so M. Afford, Beam Basher and Mike Gaming got ahead of Park Whipper Rex. He must have made a mistake coming around that lap somewhere, as we can see Beam Basher into the pits here at the end of lap 3. So Beam Basher making a relatively early pit stop there, and also you can see Thomas coming in as well. So Beam Basher and Thomas both in the pits. Revolt Detailer starting to open up a bit of a gap here is Leo. He's driven a really great race here in this feature race so far. He started in P3, he made up a couple of positions quite quickly, and since then has just really calmly just extended his gap. Very impressed with him so far. Obviously it's his debut season here at Motive, but he's really risen to the occasion. Mike and M. Afford there running in second and third. Park Whipper's got Connor all over him here. Connor giving Park Whipper a little bit of a tap in the rear as they came through that corner. Just double checking to make sure everybody's got the 100 litres, the customary 100 litres Fuller McGann in the car. I think they all have. I can't imagine they wouldn't, to be honest. Yeah, I think they all have. Yeah, everybody in the McGann's got 100 litres in the car. As Mike's really close up onto the back of Revolt Detailer on this lap so far. Look at this, Mike has really gained about a second and a half over this lap alone so far. We're only halfway around the lap. He's now looking to the inside. Leo sees him coming to the inside. Is he going to defend this one? Is he going to fight this one particularly hard? No, I think Leo just picking his battles there. Mike Gaming, a real contender for the race, winning the sprint race, and he gets through pretty much routine stuff there for him as Revolt Detailer. He's looking to try and come back at him, throwing a little feint, but Mike Gaming has got that done up into the lead there. M. Afford there running in 3rd place, bit of a gap back to Park Hooper and Connor, who are dropping off these 3 leaders right now. Flaky leads of the pit stop runners at the moment. He's 3 seconds ahead of Beam Basher. Cobb there running about 4 seconds off of the back of Flaky at this point. You've got John Boy 7 seconds off of Flaky at this point, as Thomas is... Oh, Aussie Albie, bit of a moment. We just caught the tail end of that as he seemed to be losing the rear end a little bit. Big Blue's got the Mutts Nuts trying to get around the outside of him. These guys have all now been into the pits, and I think... I don't know if Big Blue has. I'm not sure if Big Blue's been in. I think he might have been in, but I'm not sure. He might not have been in, actually. But nonetheless, Jay and Diabetic Lamb battling over 15th and 16th places. That is a shock to see these guys down in that position. Diabetic Lamb, the race winner in the first race, but getting involved in some skirmishes in the opening stages of this feature race, and he's currently battling it out for 15th and 16th places here with Jay. Mike and Emafford into the pits at the end of lap 4. Mike is currently in his box and he's off and away now. Emafford's jumped him by some considerable way there, so I don't know if Mike... I can't imagine he'd have put tyres on. There would have been no point because he's still got 8 laps left in the race. If you're going to put tyres on, you probably best off to come in at the halfway point. But nonetheless, Mike Gaming is back out on track and he's lost a little bit of ground there. So Emafford is in P... He's jumped Flaky. Hold on a second. Is that right? Emafford, I think, is in the net lead of this race. Emafford is in the net lead of the race ahead of Flaky. Mike Gaming is a couple of seconds behind. And Revolt Detailer still leads the race by just under a second here to Park Pooper. Connor there running in P3, still keeping tabs on these guys right now. Emafford is in the net lead of the race. Did he pit or was he doing a drive-through? Flaky nonetheless down the inside up into the net lead once again. Obviously P4 on the track. I wonder if Emafford maybe had a drive-through because that seemed to be far too quick, that pit stop. I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong, but he's come out, right with the leader, so I don't quite know whether or not he had a penalty or something. It could have been his pit stop, but I don't know. But right now Flaky is the net leader of the race. Emafford having a little look to the inside into the penultimate corner. Mike Gaming there in the net P3. Beam Basher Cobb, there's John Boy running a couple of seconds behind these guys. Aussie Albie in P10. The Mutts Nuts and Big Blue running pretty close. Charlie Goff also on the back of them right now. Diabetic Lamb has gapped Jay by a little bit in a battle for P14 and 15, as we have actually lost a driver from the race. Somebody has retired. Can't quite put my finger on who it is at the moment, but yeah, we have definitely lost somebody from this race. Nonetheless, Revolt Detail has got just under 7/10 of a second of a gap here over Park Group, and Emafford is into the pits, so it was a drive-through for Emafford. I thought it had to be because he just seemed to get a crazy quick pit stop, if it even was, but it wasn't. But he obviously must have got a drive-through for jumping the start, one would imagine. Revolt Detail is still leading the race out of Park Group, but these two having a good little battle, but they've still got a pit. Flaky, the net leader of the race, has got a 2-second gap at the moment over Mike Gaming. You've got Beam Basher there running, I think, in a net P3 at this point. Cobb keeping tabs on him. John Boy there in the background running in P8, but I think it's a net P5 once the leaders have come in. Having said that, he might come out behind Revolt Detailer and Park Pooper. We'll have to keep our eyes on that one. But these two currently having a good little scrap here at the moment over P1. Keeping an eye on other battles going on because Charlie Goff is on the back of Big Blue. Also, you've got Diabetic Lamb has made the move on Emafford up into P13. And Mike Gaming seems to have Beam Basher now closing up on him a little bit coming through this lap so far. Cobb still keeping on the back of Beam Basher in a battle for P6. As Revolt Detailer has made a mistake because Park Hoop is now a couple of seconds ahead of him, so Park Hoop has got ahead of Revolt Detailer and has pulled out a bit of a gap, so I don't know what happened there to Leo, but maybe just making a mistake coming through the hairpin section. It's a tricky little track to get right here at Brno at the best of times. But yeah, maybe just a little mistake there for Revolt Detailer. There's Connor running in the final podium spot. Flaky there in P4, but obviously the net lead of the race, and he's continuing to pull out the gap to Mike Gaming. Beam Basher's just dropped off of Mike a little bit. Cobb though looking pretty close on Beam Basher at the moment. John Boy there is not too far away either, as we've got 7.5 seconds currently separating the top guys. It was Thomas who retired from the race early on. Thomas has left the session already, and somebody else has retired from the race. And again, I just can't work out who it is. My brain's just not working right now. I can't figure out who's left the session or who's no longer in the race. No. I try and work out who it is, and then I look at the order, and the person who I'm thinking of is still there. So it's not who I think it is. I don't know who it is. Oh, it's Diabetic Lamb. Diabetic Lamb's retired. So we have lost Diabetic Lamb and Thomas from this race. So we're too short of who we're supposed to have. Part Poop is still opening up a gap over Connor. 6.5 seconds between those two right now. Revolt Detailer has... No, hold on. No, Diabetic Lamb's still there. It's Leo. Oh no, Leo. He's got done for speeding in the pits, hasn't he? He's got done for speeding in the pits. It's Revolt Detailer who we've lost. And he was in a decent position in this race. I think he's gone steaming into the pits. As Big Blue's got ahead of Diabetic Lamb, they're up into P10. Diabetic Lamb trying to come back at him. Has got Charlie right on him as well. So these guys still having a good little battle. I think Revolt Detailer has got done. I think he's been DQ'd for speeding in the pits. Oh, in the background there. Look at that between M. Afford and Jay. M. Afford squeezing through up into P13. I'm pretty sure that Revolt Detailer has retired due to pit lane speeding. If anybody knows in the comments, let us know. But I'm pretty certain of that. Parpoop is still leading the race by 6 seconds ahead of Connor. Flaky, the net race leader, has now got nearly a 4-second gap over Mike Gaming and looking pretty much in control of this one. Beanbasher there riding in 5th place behind Mike Gaming, but I think that Beanbasher, as it stands, will be in a net podium position here. Cobb doing his fastest middle sector of the race so far. John Boy a little bit off of his fastest time through the middle sector, but he's only a couple of seconds off of a podium at the moment. Can just keep himself there within 18 seconds of the two of Part Pooper, the leader. So I think John Boy should clear Part Pooper. Whether or not he'll clear Connor comfortably. So I think John Boy at the moment in the net P5. But yeah, Part Pooper Rex currently out the front, currently doing the business here. 2:11 last time around, though a little bit slower than the guys in this pack. Flaky, Mike, Beanbasher, Cobb, John Boy, all in the 2:08, 2:09s. Bit of a gap back to Aussie Albie, who's currently in the 2:09s. The Mutts Nuts was a little bit quicker than Aussie Albie on the last lap. He's a couple of seconds behind him on the track. Currently Mike's still sat in 4th place right now. Beanbasher's dropped off him a bit. They're coming through the first 2 corners of the lap. Cobb is within half a second of Beanbasher as they're coming up towards turn 3. But race has settled down a bit now. Jay's really close on the back of M. Afford, but it's not been the race. It's not been the night. It's not been the week for Jay here. It's been really a bit of a nightmarish week for him. The touring car champion from last season has not started off his titled events here tonight very well. He was also runner-up in the Clio Cup last season, and the first race of the Clios on Monday was nothing short of a disaster as well for him. So it's really been a bit of a difficult week here, but he looks like he's going to try and make the move here on M. Afford. M. Afford a bit wide there as they came through turn 3 and around the outside of turn 4. That's Jay up into P12. He goes wide onto the gravel though. M. Afford's going to get the position straight back off of him there up into 12th place. It's almost like Jay can't do anything right at the moment. He's really struggling this season. I'm not sure what it is, but it's like he just can't get into a rhythm. Everything he does it's a struggle right now for him. I think he just needs this week to end and needs to just crack on with getting ready for next week. We've just lost another driver from the race. It's Big Blue that we've lost. Big Blue's out of the race, unfortunately. We've got Jack Media in the comments. He's saying, I love Connor Bowerland. Connor, you've got a big fan in the comments here. So he's currently running in P2 right now. He's 7 seconds behind Part Pooper. Part Pooper coming into the pits here at the end of lap 8. But yeah, Connor got a big fan here. Jack very much voicing his support for you, Connor. Connor's coming into the pits as well as Part Pooper, so both of those two in. That now gives Flaky the lead of the race, and he's already been into the pits now. So that is everyone pitted. Everybody on this leaderboard now has been in for their mandatory pit stop. So it's Flaky leading the way. Beanbash is in second. Beanbasher's got ahead of Mike. Side by side coming into turn 1. He hasn't completed the move. Beanbasher can't quite do it. I don't think he's going to get sideways there. Mike can't hold there on the outside. Beanbasher does complete the move up into second place. Mike there so close to losing the back end, but he's got the run here coming through turn 2. Can he maybe try and come back at him here coming down towards the end of the straight? Mike Gaming on the outside has got the run. He's got the momentum and the straight line speed in the BMW as Beanbasher looks to tuck back in, but can't come back at him there. Cobb is now right on the back of him as well in this battle for P2, but Beanbasher trying to get on with this here with Mike Gaming, but couldn't quite make it stick coming into turn 1. Mike really wide onto the curb there, but Beanbasher hasn't got the momentum to make the move coming into this right-hander. But coming towards the closing stages of this feature race, and this is really heating up here between these guys. They're 5 seconds off of the leader, Flaky. Flaky's pretty much got the win, barring any incidents in the final part of the race. He'll be gutted with not taking a win in the sprint race, but looks on course to make up for it here in this feature race. Back to the battle for P2 though. We got quite a few of Connor's mates here in the comments here. Pretty much giving him some words of encouragement. I think we can say the least. As we've still got Mike just ahead of Beam Basher and Cobb at the moment. But yeah, big shout out to these guys in the comments right now. Matthew Nolan, Jack Media as well. Victor Alvarez in the comments says, "Wow, it's been a while. So glad to be back on the stream. Good to see you as well." Commenting tonight, Victor. Oculus saying, "Well, that was annoying, speeding in the pit entrance. Revolt, by the way." Yeah, that is gutting. That really is. Part Poop is disconnected. I don't know if that was him leaving the session or if it was his internet timing out. But Part Pooper is now unfortunately out of this feature race. But we're currently still watching this battle for second place. Mike just holding on ahead of Beam Basher and Cobb at the moment. Aussie Albie has got the Mutts Nuts and Diabetic Lamb really pressuring him. Diabetic Lamb, the winner of the sprint race, let's not forget, but the feature race has been pretty much a disaster for him. Charlie's on the back of him after these two batting it out over 11th and 12th places at this point. But yeah, we're currently watching Diabetic Lamb trying to put the pressure on the Mutts Nuts as they're coming down the start finish straight. 13 of you currently watching, guys, smash the like button if you're enjoying the stream tonight. What a night it's been. Some great action. It's been non-stop here, there and everywhere. It's been close, it's been tight, it's been really exciting, and it's been an absolute pleasure to be able to cover this live on the Motive Racing channel. If you do enjoy, please subscribe, please like, and join us at www.motiveracing.com. Diabetic Lamb having a look to the inside on the Mutts Nuts coming into turn 3, still not close enough at the moment. Mike is holding on for P2 as Cobb's got ahead of Beam Basher up into third place, so Cobb now onto the podium. Can Beam Basher come back at him in the final couple of laps of this race? Keeping an eye on the battle for sixth places. Now the Mutts Nuts has got Diabetic Lamb to his inside. Diabetic Lamb just has to back out of it there at the last second. The Mutts Nuts goes deep though. That will definitely allow Diabetic Lamb look up the inside into this double right hand bend. They come now from the left hand. The Mutts Nuts has got the inside and runs it just in front of him. Goes a bit deep though. Diabetic Lamb might be able to get the cut back here. It's going to be side by side once again. The Mutts Nuts just turns in on him a little bit there. A bit of contact there between the two of them. Rubbing's racing between the pair of them. The Mutts Nuts can't hold it, and Diabetic Lamb swoops around the outside and up into 7th place, and in the end manages to complete the manoeuvre there. Great stuff there from those guys. Really close and clean racing there. Can Diabetic Lamb now focus his attention on Aussie Albie running in P6. Mike Gaming still running in second place, just ahead of Cobb and Beam Basher. Beam Basher will be looking to try and come back at Cobb if he can. John Boy's not too far behind these guys as well. He's only 2 seconds off of second. Well, he's 2 seconds off of a podium. He's 3 seconds off of second place here, and John Boy's going to be the silent assassin, you can bet, if the opportunity arises here at the end of this race. It's currently Flaky leading by 5 seconds ahead of Mike, Cobb and Beam Basher, but John Boy could be poised to do something if any of these guys trip over each other at this point. Here we come, penultimate lap of the race. Beam Basher looking to the inside here on Cobb, nothing doing, can't make the space, can't managed to send one up the inside there. Flaky's got the gap over Mike. Mike's now shaken off the challenge of these two, Cobb and Beam Basher, and looks to try and consolidate this P2 here in this feature race. Diabetic Lamb is now closing up onto the back of Aussie Albie. The Mutts Nuts must have made a mistake because he's now 4 seconds behind Aussie and Diabetic Lamb, so he's fallen well and truly out of that battle there for P6. Diabetic Lamb is hassling the back of Aussie Albie as they come out of turn 2 down this little straight. Is he going to be able to look to the inside and maybe send one on the brakes? Connor, what happened, says Matthew. Connor is down in P9 at the moment, Matthew, unfortunately. I think his pit stop maybe put paid to his chances in this race, because he hadn't actually pitted. It's a mandatory pit stop in this race, so yeah, I don't think he'd made that pit stop. That was why he was running in P2, but nonetheless, some good points for Connor. You know, he's done a good job tonight. Fair play to him. He's getting better every single time I see him out on track. He's closer to the front each and every week that I see him race, so you know, he's getting there. But Diabetic Lamb looking to the inside here on Aussie Albie. Aussie Albie leaving the space. Oh, Diabetic Lamb, bit of a slide there, but Aussie Albie keeping on to that P6 for the time being. Flaky leading out the front, 6 seconds is now the gap. Mike Gaming's still got Cobb and Beam Basher really close. Beam Basher looking to the outside here on Cobb at the moment. Cobb's got the inside line, bit of a lock up there, keeping onto that one for the time being. Diabetic Lamb looking around the outside of Aussie Albie. Aussie Albie, bit of a slide, that might give Diabetic Lamb the run, but the BMW is so quick in a straight line, even when the BMW is sideways out of the corner, it can still have the grunt over the McGann. And Diabetic Lamb was saying in the comments and in the interval there in the pre-race lobby, he was saying that he's got so much speed over the BMW to the corners, but obviously nowhere to go. You can't just drive through them, you've got to find a way to get past them. And Diabetic Lamb saying he's really struggling to do that. He's just having to force him into a mistake, or be really brave on the brakes, but ultimately it's not happening for him at the moment. And still Aussie Albie keeping on to P6 for the time being from the back of the grid as well. Aussie Albie, let's not forget, started P16 in this feature race. He's gained 10 places over the course of this race. It's been an astounding drive from Aussie Albie in his first appearance in the touring cars this season after he missed the sprint race. Diabetic Lamb is going to look to try and make it a 9-place gain instead of a 10-place gain, because he's looking around the outside here of the last corner. We are going to be side by side down the straight. Once again the BMW has got that grunt, and Aussie Albie will be good to defend his position into turn one here. He just needs to hug the apex and not allow any gaps to form. He needs to just stick to it like it's everything to him. Diabetic Lamb's going to try and go for the gap. He can get a better exit out of the corner. Diabetic Lamb will manage to get slightly ahead of him here, but Aussie Albie will have to pace once again coming down this straight. And you can see Diabetic Lamb had the move done, but Aussie Albie's straight line speed once again just eclipsing that McGann, and Aussie Albie once again back up into 6th place. It just shows how much speed the BMW has got over that McGann. It really is, it's dominant in a straight line. The McGann's so quick through the corners, but as we said before, you just can't go through him. So Diabetic Lamb now looking to the inside once again here on Aussie. Aussie leaves him the gap there. Diabetic Lamb should have this done, coming through the first of the double right-handers, and Aussie a bit wide. Diabetic Lamb should now have that one covered off for the next corner, and will try and defend the inside for this left-hander. Diabetic Lamb has got the move done up into 6th place there finally, and Aussie Albie still a P7 finish in this race from the back of the grid. Started P16. Obviously we lost 4 drivers along the way, but Aussie Albie, I'm sure, isn't going to be too disappointed with that. Some very good points for what is his first appearance of the season. Let's keep an eye on what's going on here. Cobb is in 2nd place. Cobb has got ahead of Mike and Beambasher. Beambasher down to 4th place. Cobb is into P2. Mike's going to try and come back at him here, but Cobb has really driven the wheels off of that Astra in the last few laps of this race. Coming to the final few corners, the race leader Flaky is coming into the penultimate corner now, and he, unfortunately for him, came up short in the first race of the night. Lost 2 positions on the last lap when he was leading most of the race. He's going to right the wrongs of the sprint race here as Flaky comes up towards the line to take his first win of the season, and a P1 in the 2nd race of the entire season of the 12 race calendar. Cobb holds on for 2nd place ahead of Mike Gaming, just about. Great little fight between those guys. Beambasher takes 4th place in the end. 2 4th places. I'm sure he's not going to be too disheartened with that. John Boy takes 5th place here in the end, so some decent points as well for him. Diabetic Lamb in the end takes a 1st and a 6th, so it's going to be close, I think, in the championship. But obviously with Flaky taking a 1st and a 3rd, Flaky will lead the championship, and not by much though. I think Diabetic Lamb won't be too far behind. Mike, I think, will be up there as well. Aussie Albie takes P7. The Mutts Nuts over in 8th place. Jay comes over in 9th place. The champion from last season, really struggling so far this season. Not been the start to the season that he would have needed at all. Connor taking P10 in the end, completing the top 10 finishers. Matthew Nolan in the comments saying, Connor, we are proud of you. Yeah, he's doing well, Matthew. He's getting better every week. He's improving. So well done to Connor there. M. Alford takes 11th place. Charlie Goff, P12. Big Blue, Revolt Detailer, both retired from the race. Obviously, Thomas disconnected. Revolt Detailer speeding in the pits. Got done for going steaming in at a speed that was far beyond what the rules and regulations dictate. But that is that for the feature race. What a night of racing we have had here for the opening round. It was an absolute pleasure to commentate on this one. I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season. If that's anything to go by, this is going to be a cracker. Guys, drop a like on the video if you did enjoy. If you're one of the drivers watching this back, share it with your friends, family members, and otherwise associates. And we will see you next week for the touring cars. We'll be live at the same place, same time for round 2 of the season. And round 2 will be at, let me just find out for a second, it will be at Algarve. So Portimao for F1 fans, Circuit Algarve. That'll be round 2 of the season. Also join us tomorrow night for the F1. We'll be live at 6:45 PM UK time. The F1 will be at Silverstone, actually, the British Grand Prix. Wow. Didn't realise it was Silverstone so early in the season, obviously, because we missed out a few of the first rounds. So yeah, Silverstone tomorrow night for the F1 League, and then it won't be live until Monday after that, because the Sunday Championships don't start this week; they start next week. So the ACC Sunday Special will be next week. So no racing this weekend. We'll be live on Monday night for the Clio Cup at the usual time of 8:30 p.m. UK time. And we'll be at Silverstone National for the Clio Cup, and then Wednesday night we'll be back for the GT3 League on ACC on the PS4, the GT3 Pro League on the PS4. That will be at Monza at 7:30 p.m. UK time, and then obviously we'll be back next week for the touring cars here on Project Cars 2, as we said, at Algarve. So massive thank you once again, guys. Drop a like if you did enjoy, and we will see you very, very soon. Take it easy, everybody, and yeah, see you later.